Entitled Toughness for Leadership Success. Global managers and business leaders face the complexity of an uncertain working environment need to have psychological readiness. It's not just a matter of knowledge, ability or skill that sets managers up for success, but also the ability to deal with the pressure and stress of competition, fatigue and failure.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Lau, international sales and service keynote speaker and the author of Winning Clients Loyalty, 7 proven practices to convert clients into amazing fans.
Mental toughness outlines the 5 fundamentals for attaining high-level success. 1. Composure, calmness, being in control of your state of mind, your bearing, and your appearance. 2. Concentration, focusing on performing and ignoring distractions when it matters. 3. Confidence, having the self-belief and trust in one's capabilities. 4. Cope-ability, overcoming adversities and setbacks well. 5. Cohesion, giving and receiving social support to each other within the team. At the end of this program, you will be able to apply the fundamentals of mental toughness to self-assess your own capabilities in dealing with challenges and adversities, handle adversities and challenges better, both at work and home, apply practical techniques to improve your ability to be mentally tougher, enhance your mental toughness competencies at work and manage change better, develop greater resilience and mental toughness ability at work in leading self and teams. The Mental Toughness Profile, a research-based psychometric tool, will help you to discover your mental toughness qualities, mental strengths and recommend areas for improvement in the 5 key competencies of composure, concentration, confidence, cope-ability and cohesion. Visit us at www.globalsuccesslearning.net or email us at info@globalsuccesslearning.net to explore how the Mental Toughness for Leadership Success Development Program can help you and your teams improve your productivity, resilience, mental wellness and performance.
Good afternoon. Hi, this is Mala from Hearts&Minds Development Center. Welcome again to Being Whole, Being Me, our 42nd episode actually, and it's great to be here. So thanks for joining us. For those who have joined us, we only have Gerald who said hello, while we know there are others at the background. So it'd be wonderful if you could say hello to welcome, like world famous Jonathan Lau, right? Now this is world famous, right? So so nice to have a world famous colleague here to join me. Let's bring Jonathan Lau on. Hi, Elizabeth. Yes, Jonathan, please. Hey,
Hello,
John.
everyone. Great to have you join. Thanks, Mala.
Oh, thanks for saying yes to us, John. And I love your home setting. I want to visit you.
Please do.
Yeah. So, well, I'm curious to know whether you play the piano, but that's not what it's all about. So, hi, Gerald. Thanks for joining us. And Gerald says, looking forward to getting tips on mental toughness. And John will say the video is all there is to all the tips he has to give. So there's nothing on. That's what he said just now. Elizabeth, hi, Alice. That's my friend.
Hi, Alice.
Joining us. Me, John. Oh, I think you would have met Alice in Mumbai when we went for the EQ conference.
Okay.
In the photo. So Alice, I think you've met John. So John, welcome to Being Whole, Being Me. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on your episode 42 today.
Yes. I hope that number is a good number for you.
Any number is always good. It's all about perspective.
Yeah. Hear it from you. Oh, Sarjit Singh has come. Hi, Sarjit. Sarjit says, happy to be able to join. Yes, Sarjit, it's lovely to have you here. Now, so tell me, right, what does mental toughness mean to you?
I think for me personally, it's been quite a journey. I wish I knew about it earlier, but I guess, over the last 16, 18 years, I've been doing elements of mental toughness without realizing it was actually mental toughness. So mental toughness is really, being resilient, managing different elements of which I knew more about earlier on the area of composure, the 5 C's that you've just heard, how they can help you. And more importantly, besides yourself, the people that is also within your community that is next to you, because the more you know about yourself, the more your interaction will be more vibrant, more productive. So mental toughness for me is really just being at the peak of whatever you're doing.
So you are saying that if we are mentally tough, we will be at peak performance in whatever areas that we choose.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be like a world-class athlete, right, a world-class producer, performer, achiever, right, when you look at those top Usain Bolt, right, some of those, world-class champions, what are the things that makes them world-class? And that has been a study that I've been so involved in over the last couple of years.
So what if I don't want to be world class? I want to be average, and I want to be ordinary, and I want to just have a simple life. Where does mental toughness fit in this space?
Well, it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of choice. And then, world class doesn't mean that you have to be, on the world global stage. It could be the world class in your family, right? You could be a world champion in your family, with your friends, your level of what you take pride in, right? It could be in your studies. It could be in areas of whatever you're passionate about. How can you have that elements of world class? And when you really want to be great at something, what does it take to move you from here to there? And that's what mentally toughness is. Because in reality, things will come into your life that you least expect. I mean, for me, I used to be traveling so often, right? And I'm sure thanks for letting the world know. I do travel a lot, right? And over the last 2 years, I have been homebound. So to me, it is about how can I become a world-class dad, even better to my family, to my daughter. So being world-class can happen anywhere. And you deserve to be world-class in wherever you are.
So help me understand, when you say world class, what would be another word to define world class? Because I have a definition in my head, but tell me, because I love the fact that you're not talking about. So it seems to me that you're not talking about competition with another person, but it seems to me that it is about you being your better version every day, and that's your world class, right? So when you say world class at home, like as a dad, what does world class mean to you if you don't use the word world class?
Okay, it's just being the best version of yourself, like
Yes,
right, like him, right? Being whole, being me,
I love you.
version of yourself, right? So
Exactly.
it's about being totally present, giving the time, and just being aware of the things, being aware of the blind spots, and being open. It's a learning process every day. Just being very intentional about the little things.
Nice. So it's about bringing our best version to life in the areas that we choose. And if we decide that these are areas that we want to be our best version, then mental toughness is required, because while we plan to bring out our best version, you might have challenges and obstacles. And that's when I'm hearing that mental toughness comes in. But, I was very intrigued when you said you wish you knew it earlier, because I'm like so bad with timeline. I don't know how long I know you. But my first memory of you, and I'll tell you, my memory doesn't serve me very well. My first memory of you was in a program, and I remember you rapped. That's all I remember. It's I think NLP, right?
With N. Yeah, with N.
With N Monroe, right? So the version that sits in my head in terms of my first experience where you anchored me is your rap, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, where did this guy come from, right? Do you still rap?
Only for you if you want me to.
Okay.
You may scare other people away, so I don't want to do that often.
Will you do that for us now?
Well, okay, if you insist, right?
Mental toughness. You can just give me 1 second. Let's just have Jonathan on screen. Let's get me off screen, because I think this deserves a lot more. Sorry, Jonathan. I know I didn't have this, but I just remember.
I hope I still remember the rap.
It doesn't matter. It's about mental toughness. Yes. Okay, now.
All right. So, the rap that I did before, Okay, so I really need to recollect that. But if I remember it correctly, it goes something like that. Jonathan's my name and basketball is my game. I can't promise you that you'll be the same, but once you get to know me, you will experience a different element of, yeah, I think I need to rework on that game. Yeah, it's been a while, but it goes something like that. Yeah, that was the first time that we did that introduction. I've not used it for too long, but it really, yeah, okay. Let me try it again, right? So Jonathan's my name and basketball is my game. I can't promise you. Yeah, I'm still trying. Yeah, you got me there, but I will work on it. And the next time, I'll definitely work
No
much better.
worries.
But the
If
last
you
line ends with this. The last line ends with this, right? But I cannot promise you richness. But what I can promise you, your life will never be the same.
Oh,
Once
nice.
you get to know each other, because it's all about the relationship that I cherish and how you can be the better version of yourself.
Woo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you, Jonathan. John, I think we can take John off because I want more space in there.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. No, but I think that was a real example of you exhibiting mental toughness, right? Because one is, I mean, I didn't know I was going to ask you to rep, otherwise I would have told you earlier. And but what I love about you is that you were okay to go at it. You were okay not to remember. You were okay to be vulnerable to say, this is what I'm doing after so many years. And you were okay to try again. And what I love most is that, towards the end, you say, you know what, I'm going to try this when I'm ready, right? But you did what you know. And I think that, puts you as a practitioner and in action. So thank you so much for trusting me to do that. I didn't mean it, but thank you so much for showing up. The mental toughness is not about appearing perfect, but just showing up courageously, which you always do. Now, going back to the first time when I met you, right, and I remember the rabbit, I remember you, and you were just, I think, getting into training.
Yes, that's correct.
Right, professionally. I think you came from the hotel industry, if I remember you correctly. And because I
Correct.
remember you sharing that, this is where, and when I looked at you rapping, and I was thinking, what does this guy mean? Like he's new, like you were so seasoned. So if you can just tell us your life, your past life before you became a speaker trainer, right? And your current life when when you've become world famous, right? So tell
No.
us. Yeah. Tell us your past life, right? What made you transition? And
Okay.
tell us how. Yeah. So we'll do that first, and then I'll ask you about the mental toughness in your current life.
Sure. I spent 20 years in the hotel business. I did hotel management. So I was at Switzerland. Then when I came back, I worked in different hotels in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. For some of the audience, if you know the Chorus Hotel, that was where I first started my career. Then I was in PJ Hilton with the Hilton Group for many years, with KL Hilton, PJ Hilton, and then subsequently in Renaissance and Marriott, the different brands. So after 20 years in the business, there was this stuck in myself, and I said, is there something more I could do? Because even while I was in Marriott, towards maybe about the 17th year, I was involved in supporting Marriott associates. So 30% of my time was taken away from my actual role of running a sales department, of running revenue management, and it was used to do development, training. So I was across Asia Pacific doing training, helping associates, get better. And that bit really excites me, right? To see their journey, to see their growth, and to be able to be part of that dot. So that was really exciting. So I guess it came a point in my life that I say, perhaps there's something more that will contribute to the world. And that was what made me make that jump.
And tell me, when you made this transition, because a lot of people want to make transitions in life. You were very clear about your transitions, what I remember, because what I recall of you, and please correct me, because I have a bit of recollection, is that you were very, very determined to be world class when you started. That's what I remember of you, right? Whether it's at the NLP program or subsequently, when we did some, training together, when we attended training together, you were very clear that you were a late entry in the sense, right, among us, but you were very, I mean, so I didn't see you as late entry because you were fantastic. But you always put it out that, I'm a late entry and I'm going to like be the best. And you showed up all the time, right? So tell me, when you made this transition and you knew what you wanted to be, what sort of mental toughness that you're talking about today? You may not have used that in those days, right? But you were already, displaying that. So what were some things that you think now when you recall? What were you saying or doing to yourself to make the transition? Because a lot of us get caught in transition because fear gets the better of us, especially if you're a late entry. There are always people ahead of you in the race and you think they're better because they have more experience, they're more and more and more, right? But so what sort of preparation do you make which you would relate to as mental toughness today?
During the transition period, obviously, like you mentioned, I joined in the game a little bit late, right? But to me, it's always, how can I be a better version today compared to yesterday? So I've always been a keen learner. I always like to learn, not only from people. I'm a very curious person. So if you get to see me, I would probably be asking a lot of questions. Never knew that would lead me to become a coach one day too. The power of question, but just being a sense of curiosity. That always inspired me to become, okay. So I observe, I see things. And what made me even go? Yeah, so I tell people I'm a Malaysian, but besides supporting my fellow Malaysian, one of my goals is I love to travel. And in doing so, I made it a very intentional thing that I also want to reach out to other parts of outside Malaysia, right? How can I do more work in Asia Pacific? How can I do more work in Middle East, in North America? So I would never imagine that they would actually come when I set that intention, because in 2019, I had the first experience of speaking in a global conference in Houston, and to be invited as one of the Malaysian to be presenting at the global conference, that was mind-blowing. I mean, if you asked me that like 16, 17, 18 years ago, if I would be standing in front of 1,000 people doing a presentation, I would say, Mala, you got to be kidding me. But now, as you ask me, I really kind of like, I'm grateful for this opportunity, but there were a lot of mental toughness element that actually came in. One of the elements that I can relate to is, the concentration bit of it. Being focused, being intentional, and concentrating on doing the elements. What are the things that is holding you back? How can you build those confident elements? And of course, when I started, it's never been easy. When I mess up a lot, probably don't see it a lot, but a lot of self-reflection, composure was not always there. I was fearful. I was like a human. I still remember a time in 2015, 2016, when I became the president of the Global Speakers Federation. I had to do a 5-minute acceptance speech. And that was the first time a Malaysian and the first Asian that was elected to be the president of the Global Speakers Federation. So I had to do a 5-minute acceptance speech in Washington, D.C. And in the crowd, it was like the who's who of the professional speaker. People like Brian Tracy was there. It's like people that I really look up to. They are like my sifu, my gurus. And I was like, whoa. And you probably, if you see me in person, you can see me doing some, shaking dance, legs was trembling. And I was like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I don't do Malaysian proud? I'm standing here, and what if they say, who is this Asian guy, representing the federation now? And that was when that I realized, all these elements of mental toughness, even to do that 5-minute speech, was so crucial. Areas of composure, concentration, giving me the confidence, and how the cohesion elements. How do I cope with the situation at the time? Yeah, so great journey for me, but a lot of learnings for sure.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your human moments with us, because I think a lot of times we miss out the human moments because we see the confidence and the composed you coming through. And of course, there's a lot of work going at the background that we don't know. And, we can hear this, but hearing it from the person is totally a different ball game, because I think a lot of times we think that anything people are excelling at, they make it look seamless, they make it look easy, that we actually don't realize how much of work goes behind it, right? And so I like the fact that you thought you were you had your human moments, right? But what intrigued me in what you said was, when we talk about being in the first Asian, first Malaysian, right? And how we think about, not just as Asian, I think a lot of us in our own different ways. I used to think this sense of not enough only belonged to either minority or the Asians, right? But the more I go into Clubhouse, I think it's a human thing. Yeah, at some point we all would have suffered from from the idea or perception of not being enough, because we're not perfect, so there's always someone better than us that we're idolizing, right, and stuff like that. And so tell me, what do you do in moments when you feel at that moment, maybe I'm not enough, right? So what do you do in terms of mental toughness to be enough at that moment, so that then you bring out your best?
Great question. For a long time, because I was in the hotel line, and as hoteliers, we sometimes are trained to be really professional. And for the longest time, you probably saw that part of me, being the professional John, But what I've really learned, doing this business for the last 18 years is that, what if I could just touch one life? And if I let fear stop me from doing that, of saying that speech, of just coaching someone or just sharing a message, what if that one person needs to hear that message that day, and I miss that opportunity because of my own fear, my own insecurity, and I won't do justice to that one individual. So to me, I think that's the motivation factor that prompts me. It is that opportunity to just serve it forward, right? And this is where I coined the term "serve it forward." It's really inspired by the movie "Pay It Forward," because I was so long in the hospitality, I kind of like serve it forward. So just imagine when you give a smile to someone, right, Mala? What do you expect in return?
Smile back.
Yeah, typically, right? I mean, you smile at someone, you expect a smile to come back. So what would you feel? How would you feel if you smile at someone and you don't get a smile coming back to you?
Well, now that's the past me and the current me, right? And there's a past and present, right? In the past, I see what's wrong with these fellas, right? But now I feel sorry for them, that their life is more miserable than mine.
Okay.
No, I mean, seriously,
you feel
can't smile back. I've learned that it's really sad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you probably is there something wrong with me? Kind of. So
no more. I've passed that stage.
You passed, yeah. At that
because
time,
I know, my smile is contagious. If you don't smile back at me, nothing's wrong with me.
And your laughter too. So the perspective I wanted to share was this, right? So in the future, if you give a smile to someone and you get a smile back, that is a bonus. Right? You smile at someone, you get a smile back, that's a bonus. Now, if you smile at someone and for whatever reason, you don't get a smile coming back to you, it is your gift to that someone.
Nice.
It is your gift to that someone, because you'll never know what people go through in life.
Exactly.
And when I did this exercise, in a conference, when I spoke in, I encouraged, okay, we're going to have a 2 days conference. I'll see you tomorrow. But what I'd like you to do is this: go out there, And when you have a good eye contact with someone, just give them a smile. If it comes back, it's a bonus. If it doesn't, it is your gift to that someone. And I've been getting so many incredible things. I say, John, you know what? I tried the exercise that you wanted me to do, and whoa, that person just came back and said, hey, I'm not sure how we have connected, but just thank you so much for just giving me that smile. I was in a bad space, challenging space, but your smile made my day.
Nice.
And this is something that you can do with your time. Nice. With the things that you do with other people. If it comes back, it's a bonus. If not, it is your gift.
Nice. So you actually have a in-house fan here, Sharma. Sharma Kumari is quoting you. She says, if you smile at someone and for whatever reason you don't get it back, it's a gift to that person, John. All right. What if I could just touch one life? So thank you, Sharma, for doing this, because I think it's such an important
Thanks, Sharma. Good to see you.
She's sending you love. Now, so when you went, I liked what you said, because you seem to have anchored in a purpose that seems simple enough to live by every day, which is, what if I can just touch one life, right? And so what if I could just touch one life? How do you serve this purpose of yours beyond work? How does it come alive beyond work?
So it is my goal to be as authentic in whatever I do in person. So if you see me professionally, if you see me off work, do let me know if I'm not being authentic, my on brand and my off brand. I try to live life I try to live my life as it is, right? Obviously there are times that I messed up, and it's like, and this is where EQ comes in, right? Ability to recognize my own patterns, just being better every day. And the thing is, it's not being perfect, because I know I'm not. Right? So I know some friends, they try to equip themselves to be so perfect, then they'll go out to the world. But the world is missing a lot of you if you're not out in the world. So for me, it's really, I learn every day as I get through life. If there's opportunity through messages that I post or to things that I say. And we did the last 2 years, I had such a great time with my family, with my daughter. Due to my tutors within a month traveling, I don't get to see that as often, but just hanging out with them, spending that time, and still continue to do the work like what we're doing right now, right? On the virtual platform. So that's really good, right? That's really good to me. And I guess to a certain extent, all the things that I've been sharing, a large part has been due to the life of my mom, my late mom. My mom, she was a teacher. She was a teacher throughout her career, 30 plus years. And when she retired at 55, she wanted to travel and see the world. She has worked her whole life in primary school, in Chinese primary school, and they say, I want to see the world. But unfortunately, a year later, she had cancer and she passed on. So that moment really struck a chord with me. It's like, wow, she's given her life to education for her entirety, and she didn't even get a chance to see the world as much as she wanted to. So I guess whatever I'm doing now is kind of like continuing her legacy in a way of one, if I can educate one person, if I can share that message to another person, if the energy is great with me, my question always to myself is, why not? Why not now? Why not? Yeah, if I can still do it. So I guess a big part is due to the influence from my mom in her role of educating people. And I see a lot of elements of mental toughness. There are days that she's so tired, that times that she felt like giving up. It's like, what is this for? So yeah, I've learned from her.
Thank you. Nice. What's your mom's name?
She's Leong Hong Wai. So she's left. She's in a greater place 20 plus years now, and she continues to inspire me to do what I'm doing.
Nice. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. So your mom has obviously shaped many lives as a teacher, for sure. Because it's like one of my most favorite professions of all times, right? Those who do it with dedication. So thank you to your mom for giving us you and for having inspired you and leading the way. Now, and so I liked the fact how you look at serving your purpose as to making a difference to just one person. So any action that I take to just one person is good enough, right? But one of those things that struck me just now when you spoke is I really love the fact that how it's not about perfection, and how a lot of us tend to say I'm not ready, and we spend so much of time getting ready for the big day, big event, and getting out there for us to be to perfect ourselves, to be ready, right? What struck me really is what you said. While you're spending time getting ready, you probably are missing the opportunities to shift that one life at
Mm.
every moment of opportunity you would have actually got. So if there are people who are waiting to be ready, waiting for the perfect moment, right? Waiting to say, when I have ticked my list, then I will make a difference. Then I will leave my purpose. It could be a retirement, it could be, children growing up, having enough money. So there are so many things that people go through right now. What is the one thing you would tell them from the idea of mental toughness as to go and serve with what you're ready? Because there's someone in need of your service with what you have got to give, is what I'm getting. There's always someone in need of our service right now with whatever we have, right?
Yep.
So what is the one thing you would tell them, John?
One very simple thing: application. Just take action, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but just take action. If you learn some new knowledge, take action by sharing it, exchanging ideas, right? That is one of the things that I've also discovered with people who loves knowledge and who likes to learn. So learning and doing is a little bit different, right? So you can learn a lot, but it stays with you. But if you learn a lot and you begin to spread that message and the things by taking action, that's where transformation happens. That's where transformation happens. So when I learn certain things, I'm not perfect in doing that. I messed up a lot, but I'm growing. And that to me is the one step that you, and it's very intentional. You have to be really intentional to make that happen. It's not, it's just like people who set goals, right? Goal setting, in February right now, and people say, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. But setting a goal is great, but taking the little process, taking the little steps to make that happen will get you to where you want to be, if not at least a distance that you have started that journey moving forward.
You've given us a lot of words to think. CC, you make me think so much. I'm going to be tired after this. So I like the differentiation between knowledge, learning. And I have another word I think I picked up from you, which is being or doing. Right? So there's knowledge, there's learning, and there's being, right? How do you think all these three serves in mental toughness?
Well, to me, the first thing is, if you want to, for example, if you want to improve on certain skills or competency, right? You want to improve your knowledge, you want to learn a new language, you want to get fit, right? You want to have a healthier life, things like that, right? So the first thing is your intention. What are the things that will help you get to where you are? It's so interesting, right? Every time, when I do an annual medical checkup, and I get the results, and the doctor says, well, here are some things that you need to be aware of, and please do take care. And what do we do with the results? Obviously, we will, OMG, wow, okay, that looks a little bit high. Okay, this is something that I need to work on. So I guess the first one is just being aware of what you're not aware of, right?
Right.
So once you're aware about that, that's where the knowledge and that's where the learning comes in, right? So what do I need to do to make that transition to where I want to be before my next meetup with my doctor? And the doctor say, hey, we had this conversation a year ago and look at where we are. No change. Worse still, is actually increased in areas that should not increase. Another OMG moment, right? So that part is the first part. So being intentional about what you want to do, that sense of purpose will motivate you, right? So, and if it is a healthier lifestyle that you want, look at the impact to the people around you, right? So again, events will get into the way. I've heard people say, I want to exercise daily, 30 minutes a day minimum. That's what people say, right? And now when it's rainy season, what happens? Oh, it's raining. I guess I just have to stay at home. I can't do the exercise. Intention, right? So end goal is to get healthier, lose a little bit of the weight, whatever it may be. But then events comes into your life and that may derail you. Now the rain will kind of like pointing, hey, it's raining. I can't really do my running. But can we do it in the gym? Can we do it at home, inside your home, right? So if you want to do it bad enough, it will get done, right? So event will happen in your life, but it is the response that you take that will determine your outcome. So E plus R equals to O. So instead of reacting, blaming external things that you can't control, choose your response, because that will determine your outcome. And this is where mental toughness comes in, right? So having that intention will help you get there. And along the way, I encourage people with SMART goals. I'm sure you're very familiar with SMART goals, right? I always tell them a smarter goal. You come up with a SMART goal, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timeline. But I will always add a smarter goal for them. What do you think is the ER? In your opinion? Now, ER is not emergency room, but ER is, remember, when you have a SMART goal, events will come into your life. But how do you respond?
Respond, the ER that you mentioned.
The ER is the event and the respond. That will determine your outcome. Right. So if you really want to be great with something, focus on, having that flexibility, that agility. And this is where resilience comes in too. Your things will come into your life. How determined, how passionate, how purposeful are you to make that happen for yourself? Because if you don't start now, when you look 1 year later or even a couple of months later, if you see the same result, you can't really expect a different results when you keep doing the same thing.
That's insanity, right? Is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
That's insanity, right? Yeah. So be purposeful, be mindful, and apply the elements, the 5 C's of mental toughness to help you through that process.
So, John, you've actually brought. I like the fact that you spoke about goals and outcomes, right? And you also brought in the word intention, right? Now, I think we get carried away with outcomes, the tick in the box, right? And sometimes your outcomes are not aligned to your intention, right? Whereas if your focus is just on intention, sometimes it doesn't get you to the outcome. You can surpass it, maybe not. Of course, ideal is when intentions are matched with outcomes. That's the ideal that we're looking for, because they support each other. Intention keeps you in the space of mindfulness, awareness that you're talking about, for us to acquire the knowledge, for us to have the motivation to learn, and to continue practicing it until it becomes a habit, so that you can respond better in life when even events, interrupt you, is what I'm hearing from you, right? Which is equivalent to what we probably call grit, resilience, and stuff like that, right? But, have you had a situation, right? I'm assuming you're agreeing with me. Now, have you had this? And this is something that I'm actually I'm thinking about a lot, right? Because I've spent quite a bit of time, in my own training being very outcome oriented, and I'm taking a step back in outcome, because what I've realized is that sometimes when I'm so outcome oriented, I forget why I wanted that outcome in the first place. I forget my why, was my intention, which is then I can get outcomes, but I'm not what I would say happy, or I'm not at peace with myself. I'm not congruent. I'm not together. I'm not whole, or I'm not me, right? And so what I'm recognizing now, I need to bring both together, right? But in circumstances where you're being focused on your intention may not actually lead you to the outcome, the specific outcome that you're looking for. How do you apply mental toughness? How do you adjust it? What do you adjust? What do you do? And do you have an example?
In reality is, for you to be at that state of excellence, right? I totally believe that you have to be, right? You have to, the value, whatever you choose, have to resonate with your value. That will drive your internal motivation to do things. If it's a work environment, you could be doing things because you have to, but not because you want to, right? So once you have that clear purpose and intention, and if there's a good alignment, then that works. If not, you will have to really discover the real reason why you continue to do the things. You can still do it, because it's a functional thing, but it may not, in the long run, it may derail over time. It may not be something that you're excited to do about. But once you're able to find that purpose, what I've realized is the magic happens after that, right? And this is where mental toughness, like all the top athletes, right? Professionals or individuals, even in my life journey, if you were to ask me, wow, John, how do you grow from a hotelier to doing speaking in so many different countries? So as I reflect back on the lessons that I've learned is also, pick up the good things and change whatever you can, learn from it, and things that you can't really change, really can't control, then, move on to, focus your energy on things that you can influence, that you can make a difference. Because otherwise we'll be focusing too much energy on things that doesn't resonate, and that may hold you back. They will not be able to move you forward. So that's just my experience in managing the question that I've just asked.
I'm going to come back to that, but I'm just going to read some things that some people have come on board. So you have Sharma, who is saying hi. Jeffrey, hi Jeffrey. Good to see you after such a long time.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Good to see happy souls. He says, and Sharma is quoting you again and us again. How do you serve this purpose is the question I asked. And John said, just being better every day. And again, about perfection. But Gerald says, we must strive to be better every day, be the better me. Best is to not judge anyone, because we are not perfect and nobody is. Thank you, Gerald. Hi, Kiran. Kiran says, thank you for sharing. Being intentional is my favorite takeaway. Have to drop off to have lunch with my family. Stay safe. And Kiran, that's being intentional too. And I'm glad you're saying, staying true to the intention. So thank you very much. So that's obviously worked, right? Going back to intentions and outcomes again, right? If one had to choose, or have you had situations where, we have an intention, right? And we go for the outcome. So if you look at the athlete, for example, why you wanted to become an athlete, right? So let's assume the best intention is, like what you say, to be world-class, which is to bring my best out, right? Here I am wanting to bring my best out, but unfortunately, the world measures my best only if I win or if I get the top placing, right? And sometimes to get the top placing, I do a lot of stuff that it requires me to get to that outcome, which may take away a part of me. Not truly me, because I need to get to that outcome, right? And sometimes I miss out on the intention because, being the best of me may not, doing certain things may actually take away a part of me. It could be consuming certain stuff, needing to do stuff like that, right? And I think while we all can get into the space of trying before knowing whether it's us or not us, right? Well, there are times that we need to stop and say, hey, that outcome may not actually fit into what was my original version of my best version, because that's the original version that the world has painted for me. And when I recognize that, there's a disconnect within, right? And now this is where we need to reconcile, right? Yeah. And then when I need to reconcile, and if I decide to stay true to myself, be authentic, I might not meet the world standard. If I can surpass, that's fantastic. Okay, because the measurements of the world of success is different from what is the best of me, my own world class, right? So then how do we use mental toughness to reconcile?
I believe in the area of reconciliation, it's really about, you putting your standard of what success is for you and leverage your mental toughness to get you to that level of success. That is meaningful. That gives you great joy. That gives you great passion. To me, it's always about benchmarking, looking at, things resonating with people that I wish to, I don't follow everyone. But if there are some people that resonate, the value is there, and I'll say, okay, what is this person doing that I can learn from? What are the good things that I can to kind of like do more of to get me to where I want to be. And again, the important thing is not to compare yourself in the sense that you compare to be envious, because that doesn't put you in a growth mindset. But if you look at that and begin to ask questions, wow, that is a good position to be in. What can I learn? How can I have conversation? What can I learn from that individual? And begin to take the things that you find that resonates with your value and begin to do more of that. Nice. Right? So then you create your own version of excellence. You create the own version of what the world champion is for yourself, right? Because you are individually unique and every one of us is different. In my early days, I'm learning from you, Mala. I've learned so much great stuff, how to facilitate programs, how to have the humor, how to have the engagement. And I still do, because my goal is coming from a platform of curiosity. Amazing people are doing amazing things. What can I learn from all these amazing people? And this is where, when you find different elements of the role that you're doing, the things that you wish to achieve, and when there's a derailment, right? And this is where mental toughness will come in, do I need to give myself some space? Because one of the things that I found from those 5 C's, composure seems to be the thing that is holding people back. People sometimes they have too much fear, even public speaking. The many people talk about the culture of stand up and speak up, but many people, especially I've noticed, even as Asian, we tend to hold a lot of things in our heart. We don't share the things. Probably not for you, Mala. You are quite expressive, so that may not apply to you. But generally, I think many people, it's like it doesn't really comment too much. So let me just keep it inside, right? And then sikit-sikit, lama-lama jadi what? Jadi bukit, right? Then it'll explode, right? It will explode, volcano, right? And that's what happens. So I think for one, if you find a sweet spot that you really want to grow in, that you really want to excel in, work on the element of composure. And the last 2 years has not been easy for everyone. Mental wellness, how you got to really take care of yourself. I mean, even for myself as a speaker, right? I mean, I can envision to do a lot of things, but if I don't keep my health in check all the time, I may not be able to do the things that I envision, that I wish to do, right? So, keeping yourself safe, celebrate life, but keeping yourself in the best state so that you can give your best to the world, whatever it may be. Now, the world could be in your family. Your world could be with your children, right? So the world doesn't have to be, hey, who am I, John? I don't travel around the world. That's not important. The important thing is, how can you be the best version to the people within your circle, the closest to you? I continue to learn. One thing that I've always learned is sometimes, some of the people, it's always good to have people who are, your support buddies, because many of us have blind spots, right?
Yeah.
So share with your group of mastermind or a group of 2 or 3 people that you have really good trust, and they are going to be your sounding board.
Right.
Because sometimes we may be on a journey, we're moving so fast that we leave people behind along that journey. And this is where, being vulnerable, being able to say, I'm still on a learning journey, but I'm there to move towards excellence in whatever I do. I think that's a good place, right? Because when you are vulnerable, you're telling people, I receive your feedback with courage. I receive your feedback with humility. And I will have the discipline to do things necessary to move me from where I am to where I potentially can be.
Whoa, that was nice. I want to thank you for always giving me credit for for things. Yeah, you always give me credit. Thank you so much. I accept that with a lot of gratitude, and I think you are very generous with with the compliments you give. So thank you very much for that. What I'm hearing, and my big takeaway from that question on intention and outcome is that. And tell me whether I've listened to you well, is for us to stay focused on intention when we think that needs to be there's a disparity, when we need to reconcile. The first thing we need to do is actually find our composure back, which is calmness, right? And if you stay calm, you gather yourself together and then reconcile by asking yourself, be curious to ask yourself the right question as to what is it that I really, really want? What is it that is really my world? So that now you can then figure out where was the difference between your intention and outcome, and rework whichever that needs to rework, which is what in my world I call reconciling the self, right? And what you're doing is that you are redefining, if you need to redefine your outcome, you do that. If you need to rework or have more clear focus on your intention, you do that. And by doing that, and what I'm getting from you is that because the composure helps you to go back to concentration again, to regain your confidence about what you're really about, what is your best version that you want to bring to life, and how do you stay vulnerable, how do you get the support of the people, because you can't do this alone, right? And while the changes come, how do you keep coping with the changes? Because it's not, life is not unfortunately, it's not a destination, right? Even goals are not a destination, they're just a stopover.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is just checking in with yourself all the time to see whether this matches whatever that you want in life, matches with your initial journey of what it means to be the best of me and to be the world class that you want for yourself. Right?
And yeah. And one important element is, once you have the goals, another key components that I've also seen a lot of the champion and people doing this work is your ability to visualize, right? The power of visualization, right? Of seeing what it may be. And a lot of the top athletes do that visualization process all the time, whether it is swimming, whether it is running, when I did my speech in 2015 in Washington, D.C., I think the whole night it was just visualization. I'm not sure whether it was called nightmare or whether it was visualization. Probably more of the nightmare, I guess. But I was visualizing myself. I mean, I was like, I kind of like position. I say, I like to walk there when I do this part, when I like to do this part, and I like to do that part. But it is that state of visualization, how it's going to be. So that when you actually are doing it, it's kind of like, hey, I've been here before. I've seen this part before. And if you visualize it long and hard enough and put it into practice and put it into action, then it becomes your unconscious competent. And when you suddenly go out there, it's like, wow, where did that part come in? But in your mind, that whole mentor exercise have actually started, right?
Nice.
So there are some things that actually happen before you actually get into that stage of excellence. And then once you're there, there are certain exercises that help you to be more composed. It's like 5 minutes before I went up to the stage, I had to do some exercises behind the stage to make sure that when I'm actually out there, I won't freeze. And they're probably just wondering what's happening, right? So because once I'm composed, then I can concentrate on the things that I need to share, the message that I need to share, and to have that confidence. And along the way, just be prepared. E plus R equals to O. And that's how you begin to cope with situation that is not expected, because it's going to come. We can have, and even in corporate environment, we always have our best case scenario, our challenging scenario. Just be ready for that. If in case it happens, you're ready. If it doesn't, great. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. And more importantly, have a support team. I find that to be really valuable, because sometimes we think we can do it all alone, but trust me, sometimes it's not as easy. The mind may say, but the body sometimes reacts very differently. So having a group of supportive people around you, that helps a lot, right? Join an association, join a group, whatever tribe you are with, whatever works for you, be part of that group to continue to be staying in touch and open to people. Yeah.
Thank you. So Sharma says switching off is a very important part of our day and life. It is an internal switch that we need to find, use, and keep ready. So she's basically saying, know when to switch off, so that you know when to switch off or detach. Might be a word. I'm not sure whether that's what Sharma, but I totally agree. We need to know when to switch on and switch off, and we need to know first where our switches are. So thank you for that, Sharma. Last question before we go into rapid fire, my dear John, is you talk about tribe, you talk about support system. I found it extremely useful, especially in the last 2 years in the pandemic, because I don't think I could sit here in my beautiful sari and feel beautiful if it's not for the support system. And I, because I'm one of those who've taken a lot of pride in being an independent woman, right? But I think the common challenge is that some of us we may have chosen badly, wrongly, where we choose to either place our trust, or be vulnerable with people, and would have got hurt. And this is not to indicate the other person was bad or what. I think we all learn. We're all growing, learning, right? So what would be some tips that you would leave in choosing the right support system, especially now, where we sometimes are taken away from our existing support system, number one. That's what I recognize with, I didn't, you take your support system for granted when it's not that you feel lost, right? And you may not have access to that during the pandemic or because of the changes, right? But for me, my greatest learning was to be able to find support. In fact, a lot of my support came from new relationships. And that was a big aha for me, because new relationships, which I didn't expect, right, to become very strong relationship, actually supported me through my lowest moment, I would say. And that's become a big aha for me since then, because I've always anchored in my long-term relationships, right? My friends go up to 30, 40 years, right? Now, so what would be some tips that you think at a professional level, if you want to find the right support system to give you feedback, to keep you growing, to help you recognize that this is okay for me to be open, to be vulnerable, to be fearless, to put myself out there? What would be some tips that you might have in choosing your tribe?
I would suggest just be reaching out, talking to many people. And once you're able to do that, begin to filter yourself. What will be some of the closer one? No right or wrong formula. It's just what is your greatest chemistry, right? After talking to people, you will find that, you resonate with certain people, and just continue to build that trust between the two of you. And, And as human being, that's the uniqueness, right? We can have all the knowledge, but if the chemistry is not pretty right, sometimes it's better to be friends rather than the inner circle. So if you find an inner circle, cherish it, protect it, but just be willing to be vulnerable at the same time. Because sometimes, you go through life, some people may have the best intention, but the execution may not be the best of things, by the things they say and do. Just be kind. Don't sweat the small stuff. Think of what collectively the intention of why the group is there in the first place, right? If that works, great. If not, you can always find new friends to work on areas. But have yourself a growth mindset. Be curious. Be always learning. Because when you're at that level, you are not stagnant, right? And you're not just depending on past relationship. Past relationship is great. And again, the world is evolving. We have to always be learning. If you're learning everything new every day, and of course, if you have a great faith, that prayers, all those elements are important to make you more holistic as an individual. So, do what works for you.
Nice. So your great wisdom advice that I'm getting is listen in with yourself to see, and you said chemistry, but it could also mean that listen in to know, because you have enough wisdom and resources within yourself to know who to trust and who not to. So keep it open, keep the agenda open, keep the relationship open, but listen in to see what feels right and give it a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you find the right one, include them in your inner circle. If they're not right, just let them remain as friends.
And I think with that, it's very important to keep the expectations aligned. That's where communications happens, right? That's where a lot of the groups works or doesn't work. So yeah, keep the expectations, be open, find out how best to make the entire group successful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sarjit said something that oh my gosh, it means a lot to me. Thank you, Sarjit.
Thanks, Sarjit.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing your experience, insights, and positivity. Your authenticity is your strength indeed. Malar, thanks for hosting an enjoyable session in your own style. Okay, I now know I have my style. Thank you, Sarjit. And we haven't even met. So, Sarjit, thank you very much for such lovely words. Now, Jonathan, really, thank you for imparting so candidly what you're thinking, feeling about mental toughness, which we need a lot more now moving forward. And Sharma says, always a pleasure. Now, are you ready for rapid fire?
Sure.
Of course, it's Jonathan, man. Okay. So you just have to finish the sentence. So thank you for being the 42nd guest in our Being Whole, Being Me series.
Thank you for having me.
Finally, right? After all the dates that didn't work. Okay, good. So I think you had to come in during the Valentine's month. Okay, so finish the sentence. Being whole makes me mentally tough. Being whole makes me mentally tough.
And I'm supposed to connect.
Say whatever you want to say.
Okay, say one more time, please.
Yeah, and this is not English, right? So you can say whatever you want to say. Being whole, being a whole person makes me mentally tough. So when I'm whole, I'm mentally tough.
Yep.
And then
so being whole, mentally tough, use that journey to bring yourself to the next level of excellence, because you deserve the best version for yourself.
Oh, thank you. When I am being me, that means when I'm my authentic self, my toughness shows up as. So when I'm authentically me, my toughness shows up as.
So my toughness shows up as being vulnerable and being able to continue to learn from those experiences.
Whoa, that's my favorite. I know I'm mentally tough when?
I know I'm mentally tough when I'm making mistakes and being able to accept them and moving forward with greater passion and purpose.
Whoa, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for imparting your insights. Like what you said, our subject says your positivity, your authenticity, and your experiences. And I think all throughout what I'm hearing is, I'll be curious, I'll be vulnerable, and I will learn, and I'll continue to learn and explore relationships. So, Jonathan, thank you very much. For all those who joined us, thank you very much. Elizabeth, Sharma, who contributed a lot, Gerald, Sarjit, Kiran just now, right? And I'm just going to read a couple of comments before we say goodbye for sure. Besides the thank you from Gerald, I like Sharma because she decided to finish the sentences as well. She says, because the sum is being whole, because the sum is larger than its parts. Thank you, Sharma.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and she said, vulnerable, excellent. And of course, Elizabeth finishes the day by saying, thank you, Mallory and Jonathan. So, John, thank you so much once again. Have a brilliant year, and I'm sure mental toughness will not just take us, but will take you. So for those who want to be in touch with Jonathan, you know where to find him. So till then, I will see you next week. Actually, not next week. For those who are listening in, on Monday it is Valentine's Day, and we are having a special guest, Varun Gillett, up there, who is a sex and relationship coach. So if you're interested in these topics, join us on Monday, same time, 12 o'clock, because some of us may not be able to go out on a hot date, and we can have a hot date together at 12 with Varun Jill, 14th Monday at 12. See you then. Till then, saying bye. This is Mallory from Hearts and Minds. Thank you very much for joining us again. Bye.
Mental toughness for leadership success. Global managers and business leaders face the complexity of an uncertain working environment, need to have psychological readiness. It's not just a matter of knowledge, ability or skill that sets managers up for success, but also the ability to deal with the pressure and stress of competition, fatigue and failure.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Lau, international sales and service keynote speaker and the author of Winning Clients Loyalty, 7 proven practices to convert clients into amazing fans.
Mental toughness outlines the 5 fundamentals for attaining high-level success. 1. Composure, calmness, being in control of your state of mind, your bearing, and your appearance. 2. Concentration, focusing on performing and ignoring distractions when it matters. 3. Confidence, having the self-belief and trust in one's capabilities. 4. Cope-ability, overcoming adversities and setbacks well. 5. Cohesion, giving and receiving social support to each other within the team. At the end of this program, you will be able to apply the fundamentals of mental toughness to self-assess your own capabilities in dealing with challenges and adversities, handle adversities and challenges better, both at work and home, apply practical techniques to improve your ability to be mentally tougher, enhance your mental toughness competencies at work and manage change better, develop greater resilience and mental toughness ability at work in leading self and teams. The Mental Toughness Profile, a research-based psychometric tool, will help you to discover your mental toughness qualities, mental strengths and recommend areas for improvement in the 5 key competencies of composure, concentration, confidence, cope-ability and cohesion. Visit us at www.globalsuccesslearning.net or email us at info@globalsuccesslearning.net to explore how the Mental Toughness for Leadership Success Development Program can help you and your teams improve your productivity, resilience, mental wellness and performance.